Hey everybody, how are you all doing? Leprechaun here, guys. And today we're actually going to do a full city update and talk about some of the future plans of what is going to be changed and some new things to be brought in as well. So as always, guys, just before we get started, I just want to thank everybody for the last few weeks with some amazing response and comments to some of the stage videos for the mountains, and thanks for so many new people. I think something like 300 subscribers in the last 3 weeks, which is great. You know, I'm past the 3,000 mark now, so the plan is to just slowly gather them up, and hopefully faster they'll gather up as well, you know. So yeah, so again, thanks guys, a lot of gratitude for it. I'll always say it at the start of the video, just to show my appreciation for all of you. So let's get started, guys. So I'm just standing back here, just giving you the kind of overview of everything, alright? And I was going to start down there by the mountains and just start talking about how it went in and stuff like that, but you know, I'll get to it in a minute. The last few weeks have been all mountains. So I'm just going to stand back here and I'm going to work my way up the city and just talk about some of the changes. And we're here starting at Arkham. So as you know, if you're long time building, or not even long time, geez, it could be just a few years or whatever, once you get into it and you start working away on the likes of, in my case, it will be the rock work, you know, and I just noticed as I do more of it, I get better at it, and you learn a few more techniques, and you just improve it, basically. So, you know, I started down here, we'd say, and maybe 2 years ago, maybe a bit more, and I love the Arkham whole scene, because, you know, I'm a big Bat fan. I would have said it loads of times in my videos. Excuse me. So, basically, when I started this, it was a great thing. It looked great to me. It stood out a lot, you know. But now that I have done so much in the last 2 years regarding, we say, the Batcave, and lately then, of course, the mountains up there, you know, you just learn so much more. You get better insight into what it is that you want to do. And then, of course, I started here and I ended up down there. Now that I've done down there, I'm after getting, you know, more improved on my building. And now that I look at this, a serious change needs to happen. So the whole area, of course, spells out, you know, it's just dark. It's got the kind of gothic look to it. It's got the breakouts going from all the different villains. And yeah, I'm going to continue with that. But when I look at my rock work here, and it's not bad, but if I compare it to what I've done lately, a change seriously needs to be in there. Plus, this is the only part of the city that's down on normal green plates, and the rest are up on Mills plates, as you can see here. I've just come down to the last corner on my Mills plates, and I want to bring all that up to Mills level, you know. But I also want to change it. Now, the building itself, maybe a few tweaks to it, but I still love the building. But the surrounding area itself, I know I want to bring some serious change into it. The water is travelling obviously from the mountains above, and it's coming all the way down here through the square, and it ends up in here. But I'd like to do something where I could probably place the building maybe diagonally a little bit, because again, that gives that not so square look to Lego, you know. Now I know it's a backline and you can see it, but if you had a slight angle on that, which to be honest now is going to be quite difficult with the size of that building and having to break down that rock work and do it again. So again, you know, the mind is just starting to take off, because eventually when I finish this will be kind of that run of the city complete, and then we're going to break down into Gotham here. Now, the one thing I learned as well, guys, from a lot of your comments and stuff like that, is not to go away and build it without the camera. I'm going to show you the stages of it, you know, and it won't be all done at once, because you put in an order and you've got to get something, and you're waiting for it. So in the 2 weeks that you're waiting for stuff to come, or maybe more, then I'm going to start working on another side of the city to get a few things going at a time, so I can actually circulate between Arkham, some more areas of the city. There's 1 or 2 tweaks I want to change in the cave. I'm going to get to the manor in a minute, and I'm going to talk about that. And also the Japanese village, I'll turn around to that in a minute as well, because I'm going to talk about some of the changes I want to make there. So I'm going to actually literally get the camera out for everything I built from here on in, guys, because you had some great comments on can I show you how I do it. And it's a lot more work, there's no doubt about it. You've got the camera there, you have to pull it out, you have to put it either on time lapse or you got to put it on the normal video. The phone storage belts up because I'm recording in 4K, so suddenly the camera could click off on me and I'm left thinking, Christ, I thought that was recording and it wasn't. So, you know, these are all learning things, you know, as I go on. But again, I'm just literally documenting everything as much as I can and sharing it all with you, as opposed to just sharing the final product. So yeah, so this area is going to change, and what I'd love is for you to make some suggestions. You see the view of it here. Okay, so we're literally straight on and we've got a runway into it. Obviously we'll have the drive gun in, but you know, just plain green plates doesn't happen for me anymore, especially after doing the mountain work and filling it up with good luscious green. Arkham itself, there's water around it, which is grand, but it's not big enough, you know. And this is the other Arkham building as well. So I want to change a few things around, definitely, and we're going to enter into, well, the crap heap here in this corner will eventually be a kind of a Gotham City. And down at the side here, we'll have a kind of a Gotham Docks, you know. That's later on down the line, one step at a time. So any suggestions, guys? Any thoughts? Again, on anything that you think might fit in here, might not fit in here, be sure to throw them up in the comments. I'll be delighted to get your take on things, you know. So we'll move on anyway. Nothing major here changed. Crime Alley we have here, as you can see. Obviously by doing this up, I'll make a few tweaks to this. Down here with the kind of tunnel underneath the haunted house area, that'll be filled in, so we'll see what's going on regarding the end of the road. I do want to eventually run a train around, so that's a bit low for a train to go underneath that road, so I'll have to think. The haunted area here is the same. This is always going to stay there, guys, because I love it. I might tweak things later on down the line, but I always love the spooky stuff. Whether it's Halloween or not, always love it. The square itself, again, looking at a few things now maybe that I would like to change. I only done this maybe a year and a half ago, maybe two. Just these tiles themselves, they have a nice design. I love the trees and stuff, but I'd like to get something a bit more detailed. Something with a 1x1 tile or 1x1 round, I don't know. Where you could have it. There's a great guy, I mentioned him probably 2 years back. If you get a chance, check him out. Unfortunately, guys, he actually passed away. He was a fantastic builder. I took a lot of inspiration from him there a few years back on how he did stuff. And I got the idea of how to bring up my square from him, you know. And he's got a beautiful kind of detailed 1x1 flat stud, and probably a few thousand of them. But he angled them in his city square and it just looks amazing. And I know, again, from doing this, I love the fact that I have levels in here. But when I look at just a normal 1x1 tile with a few designs in, great when you're back here and you can see that kind of detail, it's nice, but I'd like to get something a bit more, I don't know, a bit more detailed, a bit more intricate, you know. So we have, you have to go close up with the eye to see it, you know. So this guy's name is Rubrick, and I just, his rock work, his little city, it's amazing, absolutely amazing. He's on YouTube still, I think. As in his channel is there. Unfortunately, as I said, guys, he passed. I don't know what of, but I just learned it in the comments that he had gone, you know. So it's unfortunate. At the time, I remember hearing about it, I was stunned, and I just gave a shout out to his family, you know. So again, guys, Rubrick, if you get a chance to check him out, great inspiration off this guy I got, and his city square is beautiful. So moving on here, we have, again, final touches now, lads. I'll be doing videos on little bits and pieces that have to be finished and complete in the city. And the back here of these is just obviously the plates, and you see the raw brickwork that's actually making them step up. So all that has to be covered, and, you know, put some real things in there, like maybe a small little pat running right up there, and some clotheslines and stuff like that. Things that you'd have out the back of your house, like, that are real. Because that's where I'm bringing my city to give it that kind of, I suppose, a realistic look. And then we have our hill here. So there was a lot of time again last year on this, which I love. And again, it's about the snot technique. Stud's not on top, where you just literally build a wall. you know, and you turn it on its side. It's long enough and it bends automatically. I done a video on that. And of course I put the yellow lines on each side and the broken one in the middle, because that's kind of the Irish roads. Up at the top then, we have just where the haunted stuff kind of finishes off, and that's just a bit of a broken down rock area where you can't really access the spookers. So that was just the kind of completion of that. And then of course I wanted to bring a different element of grey, a different element from grey and light grey and dark grey. So that's where I came in then with the kind of beige look, the sandy beige look. And it starts really here, like, you know, you kind of get a taste of the police station, and then we run up here as far as the actual Grand Emporium. And the Harry Potter stuff I was getting into at the time, and I thought, you know, something, try and do a bit of a custom job where you have a blend of Potter, but you also have your own touch on things, you know. So castle work is lovely, you know. I think it stands out in a city because it shows that there could be ruins from eons ago, you know. So I wanted to bring something like that in here. So I wouldn't say this is finally complete. The way I have the castle back here, and then I'm running empty for a little bit before we come to the clock tower. I want to change the clock tower a small bit. I would like to have that back line with the arches running right along to meet the castle itself, you know, and maybe integrate the clock tower in there and maybe a small bit higher with it. I don't know, but I might want to do that down the line, you know. But the beige again, guys, getting back to it, it just puts a different contrast regarding dark grey and light grey, you know. You need a change from it. So we're coming up to Potter area here, but before we go, we've got the pound here, which is out the back of the police station. So again, this is what I call the final touches. I'm going to have a few of those videos. I just put part one up the other day, and I want to show just the completion of certain areas within the city. So this, I never really finished it, so I got to get at that and put a few bars up at the top there, so no one's going to fall off the pad to their death. And again, just behind this area here, fill in this area, so I can just, when I glide the camera over it, you see that there's actually life on the other side of the facade, so to say, with the modulars, you know. I'll fill up the car pound then, of course, with the lawbreakers' cars. I'll do something there. And we want some kind of a barrier here as well and a watch out, you know. So then we're coming to Diagon Valley, guys, okay. So again, any of you that are seeing this for the first time, it's Diagon Alley, but I made a Diagon Valley because I wanted to bring the water around it. And I wanted to show these buildings front out. I know, obviously, according to the films, they're facing each other as you're walking down. But when you're doing that, because they're not modular, like, you don't have another side of the building and you're left with open buildings. So I just wanted to show the presentation of these facing forward, you know. So I decided to put water in around it and give that kind of, I suppose, just the beautiful view of the work that's put into those buildings. They're fantastic detail, you know. And when you have a path in front of it, bit of greenery, bit of water, that idea's tree just fitted perfect. And then a few things going on here, just one or two Harry Potter scenes, like, you know, from the films. I do plan on doing a bit more, and I hear there's supposed to be a new Hogwarts train and a station coming out, so I would love to have something around the railway area here in conjunction with that, depending on the size of it now and stuff like that. So nothing again to be changed here, guys. I'm happy with this. Then moving on to the mountains. So as you saw, the video of me bringing it in and stuff like that, that was a fun day. I was stressed to the hilt, I swear. My muscles, my upper back from lifting and avoiding and watching, and Jesus, I was all over the place. But guys, it fitted well, and I have to say I was well happy with it and how it came in. Now, there's a few things right. I was nervous at the back. The table isn't as long as what I wanted it to be, so those mountains are literally off by about 5 inches off the back of that. They're not going to fall because of the weight in the front of it keeping them forward, but I have to put a little a support of an extra bit of wood in there just to keep them solid, you know. But regarding the integration of things, I want to talk about that. It all came in fairly much bang on. But when I had the burps here, and I finished this the other day, behind them, when I was measuring up the plate distance from, we'd say, the castle here, when it comes to the edge, and it moves right back, I was coming to the edge of the wood, if you can remember, before this was in here, the wood that came up to the edge of this table here. And I took the measurement from over there, and it didn't even occur to me to come up here and see what was happening around this area, because the burps that are here were actually going out by 3 studs that way. And the mountains even went more further back. And I was delighted with the measurements that I had got everything right, even though, and how I know this, like, is when I said that I'd have to actually match the drive up to the drive coming out. and I'm off by 3 studs, obviously, because the actual burps here were gone back into the table. Wasn't clued on, guys. I was taking the measurements down the far left, and this is 3 studs in, and didn't even think of it. So it's fine. I can move the manor drive, and I'll get to that in 2 seconds. But it was either that, because I was there in my head, am I going to try and move back the cave? Am I going to try and lower the table so I can push it in a bit more? But that only gave me 1 stud room more, and I didn't want to force anything. And again, with the tables, I'll just stop in the subject for a second. When you're building your tables out of wood and you're building the high rises around the main area here, it's hard to keep them straight. And what I mean by that, it expands and shrinks, especially with Irish weather here anyway, because between damp and cold and then hot and summer, things are going up and down, expanding, contracting. And an example of that is here, just this close area here, like this strip I have here. When I started this a good few months back, this rock area, that actually was pinned up to the cave. And I thought, that's great. I have it nicely in there. It fitted lovely. Now, you have a gap of probably nearly about 8 millimeters. And the cave moved back. And what had happened was, whether it was shrinking, whether the ground sunk a small bit, whatever the case may be, things shift. The alignment of dots as well. When I was doing this the other day, you mightn't have seen it in the video, but the inner layer here, that's part of the mountain, the dots weren't lining up here. And then as I went down further here, the dots were rising here and they're flat here. So I know myself, like, if I'm doing a whole rebuild of the city, maybe down the line, I will definitely work with something like the plastic tables. With levelers on the bottom, as much as the wood is great, I'm out in a shed here and it's affected by the weather, whether it be cold or warm. And the problem with that is that it's constantly expanding and contracting. And even here, like some of the lineups of the mills plates, they're widening, especially up at the back line here. Things aren't setting up, they're nearly out by a stud, so you can't push it or force it, because that's what it's not for. It's not for that, Lego's supposed to click in nicely, so things are out slightly on the table, and there's nothing you can do. And especially here as well, we have a gap running along all the way there. If it was flush with that, it would have been perfect in lining up, and I can't get it in because the table is falling slightly that way, and I had leveled it, but it's just still not coming. You can't force it again, guys. But the cave definitely moved, and even from this side of things, again, the cave is falling back that way a small bit. So as you can see here, it is a little higher, and then as it goes down, it actually gets more flush back there. Now, it's not joined to it, that's fine, but I leveled this table, and when I came to the cave, then the cave is not level. It's actually falling back a small bit. Now, again, I'm not going to try and change that. This thing is massive, and it's all sitting in here. But if I do eventually, the plan down the line, in a few years now, you're talking, I'd like to probably get a steel tech shed and do a proper layout where proper tables, proper level, and if I was going up levels like I am here in the city, I'd be using the Dupla blocks. I got them for the back of the mountains, and that was great. But and for heights, it was great for bringing up the heights and staying level all the way across. But when I actually done here, when I done this here with the actual levels of wood, again, it's moving up and down. One side of the road is level, and as it goes along here, it's not. The wood is a killer for that. And as well, I suppose, just the shed being wood itself on the floor, the floor is off. And the floor is off, the table will lean in and out of different areas, and then that'll affect the wood that you put on top of that, and the Lego itself. It's bellying here and there. Diagon Valley here itself is a tad leaning this way, and then back there is leaning that way. Small belly in it, and even if I try and lift the table here at the back, you can see the strain on certain things. You just can't, So that's my lesson learned from doing the wood tables. I love working with wood, and I built the tables. They were solid, but they went slightly off. You could use the wood down the line, but you want to have levelers at the bottom so you can tweak it, That's my take on that, my 2 cents on that. So anyway, guys, coming back here, I know I go off in tangents. I was on about this area here, the lineup. So I'm just going to climb up here a small bit and hopefully not kill myself and knock something. So if you look here now at the drive in Arkham, it's not line. It's a stud. It's a half stud out, we'd say, with the with the 2x2 tiles, so they weren't lining up. So what I'll do here is I'll adjust this area here to move forward by a half plate, and that's fine. I'll line it up then with the outside drive running down. And when you look in here, guys, now again, very plain, and this is my take on this as well. When I started, of course, I knew I had a few bits and pieces to finish with it, but I didn't know what I was going to put in there. But all that kind of green plate to me is way too bland, you know. Funny enough, at the back area here, where there's loads of kind of foliage, I just wanted a wild area in the manor, so it's not all just perfect, but that area there is actually more effective, more what I like, where it's kind of filled in and you're not left with just plain green plates, you know. So again, guys, lessons learned from actually continuously building. You just learn so much more, and the mountains being the last project I done, and all the detail here. So I didn't do a video on the detail in here yet. I will go to the other side and do a small tweak on that. The next, we'd say, changes to, I would say, final touches part 2 will be the area entrance here. So when I'm around there, I'll do a bit of a time lapse on what I'm going to do to enter in from, we'd say, the plain clean road into the brown dirt track. And then so kind of an aerial view on things here, as you can see it. We got the Flintstones sitting out eating their chicken legs. I had to build a little bit of a fence around that, and I'll try and get in there a bit with the camera the next day if I can. And we have the tent down there with the path coming in to come up the actual jagged path. And we have a few kids around toasting marshmallows over a fire. Again, these are details that I just put in at the last minute thing, you know. So I'll do a bit more on this specifically the next time, but I just wanted to break it up a small bit, guys, because the last few weeks was just mountains. Excuse the actual jump down here now. So yeah, so we're going to tweak this and we're going to add more in, especially around here. It's a bit bare, definitely around this area, more bare again, like, you know. And I'm going to tweak around this whole garden area and kind of fill it up. I just don't like plain green plates anymore, you know, I really don't. The cave, a few more things. The drive, or shall I say the actual way out, that was just a kind of a Technic build, so I can just put it in there to show it. But funny enough, I have a motor in that turntable and it rotates, and it won't work with that there at the moment, so I just left it for now. But I want to tweak a few more things in there, and as I said in the last video or on this, which is a good few months ago, or maybe I didn't say it, I don't know, I'll say it now. I want to bring in lights. I mean, I want everything lit up. So I want lights where the important parts will light up that you can see, but I also want lights that come on in there. By the way, they're lights that Bruce Wayne put in, you know. So for example, going along here now, a few pylons, like, and the wires going up and the lights coming down, because the cave is not perfect, like, you know, in the reality of him in the cave. You know, you don't have, we'd say, all the wires tied in. You can see the visible wires here and there and stuff. So I want to kind of show that realism, you know, and we'll get something going as well in the corner down here along the line with the operations area, you know. So we want to see some kind of a real screen. You could get an old phone and put it in there and play some kind of a video on it. So I want to get that up and going eventually, you know. So I have a buddy of mine that'll do the light work for me and we're going to get around that. So we're going to assess what we want to light up and then put them all in, and if things aren't still bright enough or if they're in the wrong place, we'll just change them until we get it right. And I'll show that journey as well, guys. Right, so we'll rotate around here. This video is going on, guys, as we see it. It's only 24 minutes long. I hope you don't mind the length. And we're going to come to the last bit, which is the Japanese village. Now, again, and I'm touching on this like I did Arkham, like I did Wayne Manor there, after the experience of building bigger projects, the skill gets better, you know. So when I look at this here now, guys, I know it's 2.5 years ago, I think, nearly 3, I done this, and I love it, and I still love it. And I love all the kind of water around the dock area here, and these buildings are fantastic, showing the city from the gardens themselves. But it seriously needs change, you know. It's one flat level, and after doing the different levels in the city, I said I have to make some changes here. And as well, this rock work now here, to me, is a little bit bland. There are bigger, fatter slopes coming out and down, which are fine, but again, there's not enough sweet or intricate detail here, you know. So what I love is just a bit of insight on what you think that could be changed here. I have an idea myself. I'm probably going to touch on what I had done down there with the mountains and put a back line of something along there, so we have a bit of height and a bit of presence. Another crappy corner here that I have, I'm going to bring a table out and probably put some kind of a mountain up there as well, you know. But literally, this is going to get big change to what it is right now. We'll definitely have the water in there, but it's a bit squared at the moment, which is fine because it is a garden that's done by man, so to say. So it's kind of squared up and the parts are there, but I need something that gives it a bit more levels up and down, a little bit more wilderness here and there. Again, tweaks, guys, tweaks, you know. So any ideas you have, don't be afraid to share, guys. I'll do my bit of research on things anyway, and I will be digging into this. But the main thing here is that I'll be, you know, sharing the projects, you know. So whatever it is that I start tweaking here, I could be working on this, we'd say, while I'm waiting for orders for a bit of grey rock or whatever for Arkham. I could be doing the garden in Wayne Manor. I could be doing something. So every week we'll do something somewhere and show the changes. You know, that's the plan. So, guys, after a good nearly half-hour spiel, that's the whole overview and the talk on the city itself. I'm sure now I'm going to actually come away from this and think I missed a few bits, but Jesus, we'll be here until tonight if I keep talking. So yeah, guys, again, look, thanks for everything. Thanks for your thumbs up, your subscriptions, and welcome to the channel for the new subs that are here, and even people that just view it. Amazing positive comments, which you always give. I'm still getting comments on the Batcave, and I put that video up a year ago, and people are coming on saying they actually think it's great, and giving such positive feedback, which is lovely. And that's why I love the Lego community, guys. To me, it's massive, you know. It's such a friendly community, and we all love creating and building, you know. So I will do a final touches video part 2 down at the mountains, probably the weekend coming. I'll have something for that. But I just wanted to share with you the integration of the mountains today, and just talk about the changes that I want to make down the line and how much I want to share them with you. So thanks again, guys. Until the next video, Lego Leprechaun out.